Can't we just fix
Hey, sir, how are you? Thank you, sir. Thank you for your service. Thank you for your service, sir. I'll see you every day, but thank you for your service anyway. Thank you for yours, sir. You have a good day. Yes, sir.
How you doing, John? Just bad. Come on. So you want
Well, the people gotta have the kids ain't gonna have that much. Now them
I'll stay sitting here, then you can find out.
keep it safe again.
Keep my seat. I got permission. Okay, I hope you. That's good, that's good. We're all set. You always there,
Yeah, you do.
Let's get the flavor.
John, did you have that?
It ain't gonna be long. I got a leg, let's go.
Don't say that.
No, right now.
Alright.
You got the truck? That's,
I
got
haven't
any
checked once in a while.
So I had to, this one, my work brother. I need about a 5-inch drop. Before the, but that's why I
Oh,
know.
yeah.
Awesome.
Wouldn't work.
Wouldn't work, so I just started throwing stuff in it. In the back seat of the truck, well, I had a 5-inch drop, it's in one of them.
Is that enough for you?
I think it's been perfect.
Okay. I got one over to the
Can I get it? I got to get in that
We
room.
just gonna have to, blood confirmation.
Yeah, I got to put it into their system.
Ready to go upstairs, and I forgot to get on. What the heck did I do that? I got the green hankies in one pocket. How in the hell? Must have thought they were close. Too late now.
Just pass the flag.
My sister called last Stevens.
Did you?
Yeah, she said it's cold as the devil up there in Jersey.
She moved down there with you.
No, she's still trying to sell her condominium up there.
I bet it is cold up there.
Yeah, she said it was down in the 40s. Yeah, they're calling out frost.
These are ours right here.
I know, where's the other one?
I don't know. I don't know. There's one right over yonder.
Veterans Day, buddy. Yeah, right there, Bruce. You gonna get them? Yeah. Get the thing on, but.
That's gonna block the, speaker up there.
That is built like a while ago, it's about a mile apart.
Huh?
That's about a mile apart, so that's just built like.
Well, need to come on over here.
Go over to the edge.
Yeah.
I hope they go over to the edge, that's that.
That's good, right there.
That be Joe. What to the corner of the building? Okay. Okay. That's what I was telling John. See, John, if you stop here in front of that one, and you wide that there, and you look where the rifle is going to be. Is that the way it's being?
Well, yeah. You come on over all four of them, between lines here. Yeah.
Good, man, everything we need, come on over.
Okay.
Yeah.
Y'all gonna have to get close. It'll be like press that. That I don't know.
Let me see the one right here. Let's relax a minute, guys.
That's civilian equivalent there.
Yeah, so y'all can make this time, or you won't be able to dress right, Brett. Hard. Basically, how you go hard.
Pack it in, and then pack out.
And you're gonna have to go in for flags and do each side, probably that.
I'm a submarine.
And basically, the closer you are to the podium, the better off you'll be on that line right back there. Right here. Okay. Yeah.
We got to take it.
There you go. You need to get y'all straight. On the key.
Doing things in front of that.
That's Levi Blur.
Right, that's right. Not like you're doing a bunch of civilians. These guys are right.
Everybody got gloves, I hope.
Everybody got gloves. What is that?
You don't have to put them on now. I just checking, make sure you have them. Y'all got pretty sharp looking bunch of old combs.
What I tell you? What I tell you?
Oh, no.
Who you calling old? Takes one to know one.
That's right. I know it.
You got a white beard too.
That's right.
I never felt young till I got with this group. Now I feel younger.
That's a Harriman, man. Airport. How old are you now? 88. Man, you're old. You're gonna get that bill.
Isn't there a good Buick they call it?
Can I take your
Hold
picture?
more, buddy.
Here, I'll take a picture.
Buick Skyline. Yeah, right. I had one of those. I had those. Muscle cars.
Where did it go?
Program. And I want to find out the whole of the two points of reasons that we're getting ready to close it.
Look at me, Claire Pops, look at me. I took 3. Okay, well, that's
Cut this square. Pin this pin on you.
Resolutions and national anthem together. Yep.
Oh, do not just thank enough. And I made a mistake and not thanking my dad like I should have. Too much thanking.
You're right. We're planning it. We don't have to work there together.
Yeah, I'm gonna get back to that. When we come in,
No, so my dad was in the Navy, and I don't know what all he did.
okay, come in, so we're gonna face it this way. When they do the,
Oh, it's all right. Well, I appreciate what you did for us. Don't you thanks enough.
I'll
Thank
turn
you so
around and
much.
then they're gonna do the, they're gonna do go through.
He gonna come and help me put
My
it
flight down.
if you don't mind.
Now, once that's done, I'll do about 3 and come back around and I'll take that corner. You know, walk around, your man, you walk around your route. And then I'll say, you know, and I'll say, this one, I can pull. This one goes through, you're trying to get in at the same time. When you come back, you come back to just the attention, which is in all of them. And the attention for the attention. Okay?
He sleeps, I do not.
No, you don't see me.
We stay at what number is it? And orange.
That's right. They're
How long do you hold on to this break?
I sure don't know many minutes.
come out and start
Still
playing. You got it.
That's
Ow.
It's just down here.
And you trust them to make them do that, sir?
Yes, sir.
Oh, that's what it looks
He's
like.
doing good. He's keeping the mouth shut now.
Right.
That was fine.
Trying to take my hand too.
Something to say, hey.
You do look good in it, my friend. You look good. Oh, this should
I was waiting on funeral last week.
What branch of the service was in? Marine or Army? Air Force. Air Force. I wasn't even close. Air Force.
Busy trying to get over there. It's hard to look at it.
Yeah.
Yours?
Okay.
Anyhow, he was
Kind
working
of ran all around, didn't you? Either that or they didn't like the resort and kicked you out someplace else. Well, you look fine, my man. Thank you so much.
Ginger Hunter, call the switchboard. Ginger Hunter, call the switchboard.
Check 1, 2.
Chris, you know when you're on the outside. It's just super hot in here.
Yeah.
So, no reaction.
I'm gonna turn around and I'm gonna present okay, I'm doing it now. This is say that here's the reason, go. He already heard it.
Check 1, 2. 1, 1.
Joe, the flag, right? I guess I'm just too. You called it.
Check 1. Check.
Now,
1,
also,
2,
guys,
1,
when you come out, let's see if I can try to put down.
Check 1, 2. 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Check.
Okay. I'm doing it now. That's it. Now, here's the religion. The first thing you're going to hear. No, you don't hear it. Yeah, I'm sorry, you tip too. Never tip. That's right. Okay. Yeah, is that up now? Okay, there's the release, blah, 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 blah. That's the other, blah, 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 blah. Already done. Now I'm going to come back around and I'm going to say, prepare the post. Step out. Down your route. You have to get it.
I'm just going to get like this. I'm going to come back here.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I'm going to say prepare the post. Prepare the post.
Well,
recover, that means you recover. Go right ahead, I don't care.
Make you turn right here.
It's getting that audio from the camera.
I worship. I worship.
Yeah. These different Stevens speakers, these speakers are
Trying to find the life and that was enough to take place on this before, but sure.
well, some work on the even out here. That's the speaker can do that, except it's just, you need to upgrade the sound. Try that. Something with higher wattage.
Pretty that.
Low end from here, peaks almost. Change it to a more
All over it.
Oh yes, we do installations. That's our prime here. We do installations. We do audio, video.
Prepare the post. It's just these speakers are not involved.
Be all right tomorrow.
See those speakers are these speakers are actually not designed for they're just basically like taking time. Sound good and
Everybody, yeah. What time? What? 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3.
so this is the only place you have speakers like this. It's in the shop. It's a separate system and all types of stuff. Yeah,
All right.
it is.
Yes, always.
Yeah, that's what we do. We do a lot of dividends, a lot of productions too. We have about 95% of our customers. Who does great work for us with those things. This is we're actually
Hey.
as far as our area of coverage, customer base. Yeah, the lady.
Put this behind you.
No, that's actually belongs to the facility. They bought one. And, well, what they're doing is cancel.
They're trying to reinforce these others.
Yeah, you can't lock it. Just can't lock it, yes. They done that. Yeah, it's not mine. Okay, thank you.
You were the
5 minutes.
Are y'all ready? Sir?
5 minutes.
Okay, Bill, you leave that post to me. It's supposed to be 11 o'clock.
They're gonna start at 11.
Let's start having it. 11?
Sir, is he? Yeah, he's probably better off right here. I don't know. Yeah, he's trying to get a camera set up.
Okay, we think we got it, guys.
Alright guys, y'all need me to help y'all with anything? I can horse, I can I really miss y'all. Good to have y'all. You're not gonna try to. Okay. How you around it up? Do that. You won't call me. I can try it. Just give you a hard
Your call, Joe. I'm going to give you a 3.5% raise.
Don't thank you, thank you.
Y'all walk around in front of it.
Stick it all the way.
That is live streaming. It's live streaming on all the TVs. That
Here in the building.
Yes. Yeah.
Russ will come and see if he can see me.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Oh, you can do it right here. You see me?
I do.
Is it okay if I come over to the side like that? Maybe I can move up here.
That might be, yeah, because that's got to. Can't move this anymore.
Let's pull the table up.
John, when you go up to the Coleridge Corral, when you march in there, you know, the flag's gonna be on the right. That'll be up first. When you march in, when you go toast.
Stand back over here and let me make sure I ain't got you.
It won't be posted. No, and they have what you got to do is
I'll be about like this.
left turn.
Okay. Yeah, I got you now.
I'm gonna sit down. When the speaker's talking, I'm gonna sit down.
You good about that? You can actually block so nobody can back up the camera. Thank you.
The whole truck. Do we need to bring the stands and everything?
No.
Sherry. Sherry. Paul Brown's coming in a few minutes, or sometime during the service.
Is he gonna sit right here? Yeah.
Right about where you're staying. Maybe out in the
Just as long, just as long as it's not right in front. Which one? What's up, guys? You're not gonna start serving until after the program. So y'all need to get back there in line. You need to sit right here. Okay. Y'all need to back up right over there, okay?
Turn around and take the ball. I think it's not lasting in some reason. That's not. You got to go. It'll be in a few minutes. You want me to turn my face to it? You want me to? No, but I'll stand up behind you. I'll start giving you a real good. No, I just put it in the I designed it for that camera. You take that camera, I made a thing that made that camera. Shoot 5 seconds. 30 seconds on one time. Took me for 1 year to go one hole. 13 days. 13 12-hour days, 1 day off. 13 12-hour days, 1 day off. The camera online. I did everything that year. I copied in my house, I re-roofed my house, I paid cash for it. I just do my motorcycle, I drove it one time because I was too tired to ride to the other, I was ready to fall off. And Joey made it. Now that's a land speed record. He went all the way up to his house getting that view. Because he got to the he didn't get no ticket.
According to my job, hold that child out.
Right here, Mr. Matthews. I'm sure
Come on.
Thank you.
Somebody gets there before I do. Yeah, that's a hard. I'll have all the flags and rifles and all right, yeah, road and stuff like
We should have gotten a couple of those cones so when Brady got ready, we could have marked you out the spot. Or city might have heard.
Hey guys, we got a special guest here. Bring David up.
Who's here?
This is our new commander. This is our new commander now. better looking than the old thing.
Good to see you, brother.
Congratulations.
Well, I'll try. It's not something I wanted, but
You better tell back.
I know it.
Where's it at?
She like to get a better from today. We're just gonna spin around. Good to see you. Good to see you. We're gonna spin you now.
Where you gonna put him? I want to get him on camera. Yeah. Do I have to get permission?
His wife's right there. Actually,
Still remember. This is one of the tire problems.
everybody look pretty. 1, 2, 3. Let me tell
There's one group that can't retire from. You're stuck. You're here forever.
You remember who this was?
Yeah, wait till I go to the back of the bus, Robert.
Yeah, he asked me about it. I said, yeah, let me go to my office.
It'll be saved. It'll be saved on my
Hey,
It's amazing when I still get in it after.
Would I have to do
Let me ask Sean,
That's basically the shot I'm
Where's that girl with the camera? I want to get a picture with David. You know, David and I are the only two left of the original honor guard. 19 years.
Wow. Well, do you want to sit here or stand?
I'll sit right here.
Want me to send this to you somehow? Or? Okay. All right. 1, 2, 3. Take one. 1, 2. There we go. So can I send it to you somehow? Okay. All right. Do you have John Nixon's number? It's on cars. Yeah. I'm gonna send all.
said, what are you doing? Two left.
They're almost with us.
Yeah. You want to move that one out of the way so nobody gets confused? That'd be good.
You were standing, you would.
Okay. Just tell me to get out of the way if I'm walking.
Right there. Right there. They need to back up a little bit.
Just don't block that camera. That's our camera going into our rooms.
They need to back up a little bit.
Over there.
Looking good. Looking good, sir.
Anita.
Blue Life is making me eat better. You know, makes me go work out. And I'm like, oh, so I qualified for Social Security last week. You gotta leave me alone. Looking good. You need help. Come to get me. You know, anything y'all need, holler. They're better. Take care of him, man. Somebody's going to have a big problem. Because this place wouldn't be used to. I mean, our whole company uses the policies David wrote for us still. You remember Mike, don't you? Just don't seem right. You wore that uniform for 100 of these. A lot of stuff. A lot of people work honor guard stuff and everything. Help set it up. American Legion thing going. Good to see you, brother. I'll holler at you a little bit.
You got that number, that's right.
I probably shouldn't have said on it back in as much as I was. Talk down to me. Good to see you. How are you?
She got the short straw.
Well, good morning, everyone. We'll go ahead and get started. If everyone's here, I know we have a full house today. The rain would not hold off for us, so we kind of planned for this. And I know we have a lot of people throughout our facility, and we have people in here in the hallway out there. But I want to say thank you for being here today for our Veterans Day celebration. My name is Russell Evatt, and I'm the administrator here at Richard Campbell. And it's my honor and my privilege to have you all here as our guests as we honor all of our veterans here today. But before we begin our program, and hopefully everyone's got a program in their hand, you can kind of follow along with where we are. But before we begin that, there's some people here that I'd like to recognize right off at the top of our schedule. I have from our home office and our board of directors from HMR Veteran Services, I have Mr. Mike McBride, Mr. Bill Biggs, and Ms. Janice Sumner. We also have Martha Mackey, Michael McBride, Parker Ariel, Dalton Freeman, Ben Fredericks, and Krista Lawless. And if I miss anybody else from our home office, I apologize, and yell at me later. Okay. Every year at this time, we also have a lot of other special guests with us. We have a lot of our state and local politicians. I've been mingling around amongst some of you, so I'm not sure who all's here and where they are. But I think we have Representative Mike Gambrell. We have Madison Cooper from Senator Lindsey Graham's office, and we have several of our councilwomen and councilmen from Anderson here with us today. So thank you for being here. Thank you for all our volunteers that are here today as well. We have, throughout the year, we have lots and lots of volunteers that come and participate here at Richard Campbell. Particularly, we have our Masons and our Elks Lodges that participate all throughout the year, and I know they have a large contingency here today, so I want to say thank you to them for being here today. Thank you for our Patriot Hospice for being with us today. I saw a lot of their staff here today as well. And also our American Legion Post 184, who you'll get to see in just a few minutes, and they're sitting to my left right now. So thank you guys for being here and participating with us every year at this time. We also have several of our local VA office representatives from Anderson County and Pickens County, and our Disabled American Veterans chapters are here as well. And finally, but more importantly, our veterans. I thank you. You are really our special guests. We have a lot of special guests here, but really our veterans are our special guests, and that's why we're here today, is to honor our veterans. So, if you would, and if you're able, if you are physically able and you can, I know we have a lot of our residents here that aren't going to be able to stand, but if you are a veteran, if you served in our military, would you please stand at this time so we can recognize you? Let's give them a hand. always want to honor our veterans for the service that they give to us and the freedoms that we're allowed today because of them. So thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. If you look at our schedule and our program here, you'll see you can follow along with me. We're going to ask Steve Cannon, our chaplain here, Richard Campbell, to come up and say our opening prayer. And then you'll see our American Legion Post 184 will come up and present our colors. And I would ask you to stand for that. And we'll also have Mr. Greg Gambrell come up and say our Pledge of Allegiance. And Jacqueline Holiday will come sing our national anthem. And then I'll come back up and we'll have a special presentation after that. So if you would, I'll ask the chaplain please come up and have a prayer, and then we'll start our program. Thank you.
Let us pray. Our Heavenly Father, thank you for providing those who continue to wear the uniform of this country, this great nation, who are asked to leave their loved ones, to travel great distances, to risk injury, being prepared to make the ultimate sacrifice, who showed dedication and honor in the past and continue to do so today. They represent the best of our country. We're grateful. We ask you to continue to protect those who are now serving to keep America strong. For it's in Christ's name. Amen.
Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
At the twilight
Ready? Step. Ready? Hold. Recover. Last man on it. Foot. Toe. Everybody. Devil. Face. What time? What? 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Touch me up. Forward. What?
Thank you, American Legion Post 184. You can be seated this time I would like to invite Mr. Kit Sanders to the stage. Kit out there, Jerry. Can't miss him. Here he comes. I'll let Kit talk in just a minute and tell you a little bit about what went on last Sunday, but let me go ahead first and say thank you to Kit Sanders and what he does for us in our facility. We have a motorcycle ride every year that raises funds for our facility. And this year, we've kind of, as a facility, we have stepped into the 21st century because today is the first day that we've been able to actually broadcast in our facility in all of our resident rooms. So we have a lot of residents in our facility that were unable to be in here today, and they're able to watch this program in their rooms right now. We purchased the camera and we have the live feed, so everybody that's in your room right now looking and watching right now, hello and welcome. I'm glad we got that set up, and it was mainly because of Kit Sanders and the work that he does with us helping us here. So Kit, I'll let you come up and tell us a little bit about what went on.
That camera live feed system was donated by bikers through the You Are Not Forgotten run that this year is the 12th year of the You Are Not Forgotten run. That was held last Sunday out here at the facility. I wish the live feed was ready then. That would have been awesome. But it's beautiful. I've been walking through the rooms out there. It looks great. Y'all got it looking great out here. I want to thank all the veterans out here today. The Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, Coast Guard. You guys have our admiration. The most beautiful thing I've seen this morning was this young man walked in, made contact. Is that your father?
No, sir.
Beautiful smile when he saw his son. All the moms and the wives out here and the sons coming to see their veterans. That's what it's all about for me. See you guys smiling like that today. They won't get me all teary-eyed. All right, here's what we're going to need for next year, okay? I've been out talking. You know I do this. In the physical therapy room, we need a brand new step TR4. We got a seat broken on one of them. We need that fixed. We need leg weights, bouncing balls. What else you got? Whatever y'all want, y'all let him know, and he's going to make sure it happens, correct? Because Bill Biggs got my back. All right, today, I do want to add this. This year's run was to commemorate 100 years of women serving in the United States Marine Corps. And with t-shirt sales, donations, So the biker community and businesses here in Anderson, this year's run netted $15,200. Big cheer. And once again, this check is for the veterans out here at Richard M. Campbell Veterans Service.
Sanders, and yes, whatever you say you want, you will get. Because you
Aye,
are much
sir.
bigger and badder than I am. All right, so we'll go ahead and continue on with our program. And at this time, I'm going to ask Mr. Greg McNeil. He's our assistant administrator here at Richard Campbell. I'm going to let him come up and do the introductions for our speaker today. Okay, Greg.
Mr. McBride, Mr. Biggs, Mr. Janice, thank y'all for being here today. I know y'all are busy, so appreciate y'all taking time out of your schedule. Certainly appreciate everybody else taking time out of their day to be here at Richard Campbell for Veterans Day. Welcome to all our civic leaders as well, but most importantly, welcome to all our veterans. You truly are the reason we're here, and appreciate all your service to our country. Today it is my privilege to introduce our guest speaker for today, Colonel Douglas M. Littlefield. Colonel Littlefield and I worked together at my last assignment in the Air Force, and so we do know each other a little bit, and we've shared a stage a few times together. But one of the things he always told me every time we went to the stage, he said, "Chief, do not deviate from the script." So, lo and behold, first time we get on stage, I may have deviated a little bit. Nothing happened. A couple more times, I may have deviated again. That usually resulted, finally, in the end, he figured it out, and usually got some one-on-one time in his office with him so he can enlighten me on not deviating from the script. But I am going to deviate a little bit today. Sorry, Russell. You know, I know you're well connected in the Air Force now, and you understand what's going on. And one of the biggest concerns I have, things I want to know, is there any work being done now on a uniform that stretches? Because I'll tell you what, since I retired, mine's getting really, really tight. It still fits pretty good, but mine not so much. Listen, it is a privilege to introduce him today. You have his complete bio in the program, but I want to hit a couple of the highlights real quick. Colonel Littlefield currently serves as the Deputy Command Surgeon, Air Mobility Command. As a Deputy AMCSG2, he ensures maximum combat readiness, operational health, and efficient delivery of health care to 448,000 beneficiaries. He provides guidance on medical capabilities through plans, operational policies, military-specific medical training, consultation, and financial management. Colonel Littlefield provides the AMCSG consultation to oversee the healthcare services provided at 6,250 medical personnel at 12 military medical treatment facilities, 2 aeromedical evacuation squadrons with a medical budget of $781 million and assets exceeding $1.6 billion. The AMCSG is responsible for clinical oversight of the Air Force Global Aeromedical Evacuation System, which is a keystone of our national en-route care capabilities, and leads clinical operations capability development and sets research priorities for aeromedical evacuation and the transformational Air Force critical care air transport teams and tactical critical care evacuation teams. Colonel Littlefield has been serving in this role since June of 2017. Now, the one thing that you won't find in his bio is a testimonial regarding his leadership. I was fortunate to end my Air Force career with Colonel Littlefield as my boss, and he is hands down the best leader and boss I ever worked with in my 30 years on active duty. So certainly appreciate him taking time to be here today. So, Colonel Littlefield, the stage is yours. Thanks for coming.
So good morning to everybody. I can just say it is a true honor to be here, and I'm just tickled pink. When Greg asked me to come, he probably asked me about 8 months ago. I knew that was something I needed to carve out on my schedule. And just walking around the facility this morning, meeting some of the team, some of the residents and family members, this is a special place, so I'm just honored to be here. Mr. McBride, Mr. Biggs, Ms. Sumner, guests, DBs, staff, residents, veterans, family members, thank you for being here today. I told the chaplain before I started, I've got a quick story. It's not derogatory for chaplains, but story goes that there was a young preacher, country preacher, who would travel through the countryside finding every opportunity that he had to preach. If there was a revival coming up, boy, he'd preach a couple times through the week. A Wednesday night service, he would grab that too. Sunday, 2-3 times if he could do it. And as he started going out and about and preaching, getting his career going, he met a beautiful young woman. And they said, you know what, I think we may get married. You know how things go. So before they started to get married, they sat down and she said, now I tell you, we'll say our vows and we promise to be faithful to each other, but I have one favor, one promise that you make to me. And that is, I have a keepsake box, and I ask that you just never look in that keepsake box. Well, boy, he was ready to get married and get things going, so he promised, yes, ma'am, I will never look in your keepsake box. And before you know it, they got married. He kept preaching every opportunity that he had. He went on. They had children. The children grew up as they do, and they moved off. And before you know it, it was about 50 years. They were about to celebrate their 50th anniversary. And as he reached under the bed one day to put his shoes on, he saw that keepsake box, chaplain, and he said, you know what? It's been 50 years, and I kept my promise. I had not looked in that thing, but surely by now she'll let me look in it. She was out of the house running some errands, and so he took that box and he opened it up, and inside he saw some family photos of some special events they had had through their 50 years together. But he also saw a couple other odd things. There's some trinkets in there, but he just saw wads of cash, 10s, 20s, 50s, all rolled together. He couldn't even count all the money. But he also saw 2 eggs in the box. And he was just as perplexed and confused as could be. And about that time, his wife walked in and said, you know, I told you never to look in that box. He said, yes, ma'am, I know, but it's been 50 years and curiosity got the best of me. He said, can you explain? I understand the photos, but, you know, what is going on with all this? The 2 eggs, what does that mean? She said, well, any time that you preached a bad sermon, I took an egg from the hen house and I put it in the box. He said, boy, 50 years, just 2 eggs, that's pretty good. He said, well, what about the money? Where'd all that come from? She said, well, every time I got a dozen eggs, I sold them. So I tell you that story just to say I looked under my bed before I came out here and I found no box and no eggs, so I think we'll be okay today. But again, Greg did a great job of introducing me. It's a lot of fancy words, fancy titles, and those types of things. But I'd like to tell you a little bit about my journey through the military. And not that it's about me, but I think my journey through the military up to this point represent a lot of the folks in this room and similar journeys that they've had. Like you, I'm a product of many life experiences that have brought me to this point. I'm a husband to a wonderful woman. We've been married 23 years. A father of 4 incredible children. I'm a dentist, actually, is my primary duty. I was in private practice for 6 years before I came into the military. And I've been in the military right short, next month will be 18 years. And that I've been a member of the United States Air Force. So we entered active duty, and I say we, because any of you that have been in active duty know it's not just about the member, but it's certainly the family joins as well. We entered active duty in the year 2000 after working in private practice, and if you can believe it or not, the town that I worked in as a dentist was called Sugar Land, Texas. Can you think of a better place for a dentist to work than a town called Sugar Land? It's true. You can look it up on the map. It's outside of Houston. But through a series of events, I was looking for another opportunity to use the skills that I had gained in dental school, and it was my wife who said, well, doesn't the military need dentists? I said, you know, I had never considered that before. So I walked into a recruiter's office. He literally about fell out of his chair when he found out he had a live credentialed dentist that could actually do work. I think he made Recruiter of the Year that year for having somebody come in. But we waited about nearly 6 months to go through the process to get commissioned. And I became a captain on December 7th of the year 2000. For many in the room, you can remember that December 7th is a special date in our history and a day for us that will live in infamy. And also this year, as we celebrate or remember the 100th anniversary of the end of World War I, dates are very special events. But I came in on December 7th as a captain, and I went off to commissioned officer school at Gunner Annex down in Montgomery, Alabama. Well, that commissioned officer training, it was just a unique experience. Here I was, a young man in my early 30s with a wife and 3 young children at the time, going into the military with 0 military experience. To say that it was an adjustment ahead of me would be putting it lightly. And in commissioned officer training, I was surrounded by doctors, chaplains, lawyers, and medical service corps. And many of you can picture that group of Raggedy Bunch trying to learn how to march and salute and do other things. It took us quite a while to do it. It was quite an experience. But thank goodness for those that were prior enlisted, as they helped me know what uniform to wear, how to wear it, how to polish my boots, how to march in formation. You need it, or you name it, I needed all the help I could get. Once I figured out the routine, I was successful because I was surrounded by a diverse group of men and women who were all focused essentially on the same thing, and that was serving our country. Well, after commissioned officer training, they packed up all our belongings and sent us to Ramstein, Germany. Anybody in the crowd ever had the blessing of being stationed in Germany? And over there, special place for us. Now, I had never been overseas, and let's just say that again, it was quite an adjustment. The flight over there to get our family was 8 hours late. We got there, our sponsor wasn't there to pick us up. We had all our belongings off to the side. We really looked like the Beverly Hillbillies, and I thought to myself, we may have just made the worst mistake of our lives, leaving everything that we knew, the familiarity of our surroundings, and leaving our family back in the States to start off on a new adventure. And I was worried, am I going to make the adjustment? And so, one story just to tell you how naive I was, if you've ever been on a military installation, they have these special parking spaces that say General Officer, usually by the commissary, some other locations. Well, I would go park in those places because I thought, generally speaking, I'm an officer, right? I'm just glad none of the generals came out of the commissary at the time, but I was pretty green then. But even as new as the adjustment to coming on to active duty was, I was soon swept up by what the military represented and what it had to offer. Camaraderie, real friendship, a team working together towards a common goal, and a real sense of purpose. As I got to know the other members of my team, it was clear that their reasons for coming into the military were as different as the hometowns that they represented. Some sought to escape the small towns they grew up in. Some hungered just to see the world. Others were motivated by a chance to learn a new career, and still more sought a chance to get a formal opportunity or formal education that their current circumstances would not allow. However, the reasons why we all came in soon faded into the background as we forged a very strong bond, because we were focused on the same goal of representing and defending our beloved country to the best of our ability. We knew it wasn't a job that any of us could have done alone. In fact, our strength came from our differences, because everyone brought a different skill set and perspective that pushed us to look at problems and find different solutions than we would have if we had done it on our own. It didn't matter if we were treating Army, Navy, Air Force, or even our nation's partners. And we were always sobered by the fact that the patient that we were treating today could be downrange tomorrow in a very short amount of time, fighting for our nation. So we needed to make sure that we did our work to the best of our ability. And as I became aware and more familiar with my fellow active duty members who worked around the base in Germany, I also realized that it didn't matter if you were a pilot or a navigator, a maintainer or a logistician, security forces, or worked in contracting. Everyone had their role, and we needed everyone to complete it to the best of their ability to ensure success. Now, I recently learned of what I believe to be a great comparison of what serving in the military is like, and that's by taking a look at the aspen tree. I'm sure many of you know what aspen trees look like, especially this time of year in certain parts of the country. You've seen pictures or videos of a stand of aspen trees that rise in stark contrast to the surrounding landscape. They have the whitish gray bark on them, and a lot of times they can turn that vibrant shade of gold and yellow as fall approaches. Many people travel many miles to go see those stands of aspen trees. But the unique part about these trees, I learned recently, is not what you see with your eyes. It's what's under the surface. Because one of the ways in which aspen trees tend to grow is by sending out a root system that intertwines and produces new trees while creating a strong network of support underneath the surface to allow the trees to thrive. One of the largest examples of this process is down in southern Utah, where a stand of aspen trees is called the Pando, and it measures about 100 acres in size and is estimated to be about 80,000 years old. But its strength and its longevity come from the solid foundation of its intertwined roots. What one sees above the ground is its beauty and majesty, but it is the strength that comes from its underground support system that allows it to thrive. Well, that sure sounds like the military to me. Army, Navy, Air Force, Marine, Coast Guard, active duty and reserve, Guard, GS civilian, contractors, deployed, in garrison, dependents, active duty, retired, and especially those that have gone before us in service and in life. We are different, but our strength comes from joining arms with our fellow warriors in service to support and defend this beautiful country that has blessed us with the gift of freedom. So on this day, we pause to remember the service of those who have gone before us, to remember the service we have contributed, to remember the obstacles we have overcome together as a country, and to recognize that no matter what role you may have played in supporting our country, it is greatly appreciated. And on this day and for your service, I say thank you. Your efforts have not been forgotten. Because you have set the standard for those like myself to follow behind, I am confident in the future of our country. Thank you, and God bless you on Veterans Day.
God bless
So, we appreciate you taking time. I know you're extremely busy. Small token of our appreciation for you coming out here today to talk to us. Hope you'll have somewhere that you can put that in your office. Thank you.
Thank you, American Legion, for our presentation of our wreath, and also for our guest speaker, Colonel Littlefield. Thank you for being here today. We appreciate that. Again, I want to say thank you for each and every person that's here today. Mr. Biggs and I were just having a discussion just a few minutes ago, and we were talking about a person that we have here in our facility today. Mr. David Bevel used to be an employee here at Richard Campbell, and now he's one of our residents here. But he was instrumental in years past and with our Honor Guard and our American Legion. So I want to say thank you to you guys that are currently serving, but also thank you, Mr. Bevel, and anyone else in the future, in the past, that has served with our American Legion. Our American Legion is and has been and will be instrumental into what we do here at Richard Campbell. They're fully supportive of our facility and the things we do here, and they do numerous appearances next door and here. Anything we have, we want to offer. We need some help from. They always want to jump in. They just say, "What can we do? Where can we go? What do you need?" And they're willing to jump in. So thank you guys for being here year after year. We just appreciate you. Thank you. At this point, I will ask our chaplain from Patriot Hospice, Mr. Mike Lincolns, to come in, and he'll say our closing prayer, and then we'll have the playing of taps, and at that time I'll ask you to stand.
Let us pray. Dear Lord, today we honor our veterans, worthy men and women who gave their best when they were called upon to serve and protect their country. We pray that you will bless them, Lord, for their unselfish service in the continual struggle to preserve our freedoms, our safety, and our country's heritage for all of us. Bless them abundantly for the hardships they faced, for the sacrifices they made, for their many different contributions to America's victories over tyranny and oppression. We respect them, we thank them, we honor them, We are proud of them. And we pray that you will watch over these special people and bless them with peace and happiness. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Last final instructions. Since we had to move everything inside because of the rain today, we do have to clear the room out, and we'll set some tables up because we would like you to stay, everyone stay with us for a meal today. We will serve you, but we do need to get this room set up. So as soon as we dismiss here, if I can get everybody to exit just for 5 or 10 minutes, we'll set tables up and come right back in. We have areas all throughout the facility, in our Legion Hall, in our activities room, and all throughout the building. We have areas set up for you to eat with your loved one, and I welcome each and every one of you to stay. But thank you for being here today, and you are dismissed. I got